Yes, everyone. Welcome back to flatcapeurotalk here. We're going to take a look at Mohamed Kudus, a player that I think could maybe bring something to Spurs, perhaps maybe a Kulusevski alternative instead of a Malinowski sort of player. He is a guy who's having a pretty good World Cup so far, just having a really good season at Ajax in general. So I could see why he's being linked with Spurs. It's also a pretty slow international break. So maybe also they're just looking for news to fill. But as always with this channel, we don't really pay attention exactly to maybe the validity of the news or anything like that. We just want to take a look at the player, what sort of profile he fits, maybe why Spurs could be taking a look at him and all that sort of stuff. So if you do enjoy these scout reports, make sure to smash that like button. Born in Accra, Ghana, the largest city in Ghana, the capital of Ghana, 22 years of age, not a teenager, maybe kind of just burst onto the scene, you could say. He is a cam, does like to operate through the winger, through the winger, does like to operate through the middle, and can operate as a winger as well. I think he's a bit more of a right winger, left-footed as well, if you didn't know that. 5 feet 9 inches, 1.75 meters tall. Valued according to Transfermarkt around 15 million euros. I don't really think that's accurate. I think he'd probably go around 30 million euros, considering he's having a good season for Ajax in the Champions League, in the Eredivisie, and as well as having a really good World Cup so far. So I'm pretty sure he'd probably go for around 30 million euros. He could basically double that. 1 goal, 1 assist last season in only 18 matches in all competitions for the likes of Ajax. This season, he's really burst on more to the scene, getting 9 goals and 3 assists so far in 20 matches played in all competitions. So there you are. He's having more of kind of a bursting scene, you could say. But let's maybe take a look at some of these stats that he's gotten from this season. We're comparing him also to all forwards in the Champions League. When it comes to Mohamed Kudus, he does operate more as kind of a, you could say, maybe a higher, maybe winger. He plays as kind of a right winger, I think, now for Ajax. When maybe Antony left, he also operates, like I said, through the middle at times if need be. Plays more as kind of a forward that can score goals for them. Takes 1.61 shots in the Champions League per 90, which means he isn't really exactly registering as many shots as other forwards. But with how many goals he scored in the Champions League, that means he's actually has a pretty good shot ratio. So he's actually converting a lot of chances at this moment in time. So it does show that he's a bit more clinical than maybe the average forward his sort of age, you could say. Key passes, not really great there. A key pass is a pass that leads directly to a shot on goal, and his shot creating actions aren't really too high either, which is really just any sort of kind of play, with whether it be dribbling past his man, skidding past his man, playing a ball in behind through the defense, or just creating chances for others, maybe getting stuck in high up the pitch that leads to a chance. All that sort of stuff kind of leads to shot creating actions, and he doesn't really register too many for forwards in the Champions League per 90 or per game. And also, really, his strength does, though, lie in skinning past his man, as his strength certainly is. His dribbling ability really is exceptional at taking it past his man. His sort of kind of style, I would say, maybe if you were to find sort of a comparison, considering he is quite quick, he is quite pacey, maybe you could compare him to a bit of a Rafinha type player, considering if he is going to come off the right wing for Spurs, if he's going to dribble off the right wing cutting inside with that left foot, he is actually quite similar to Rafinha in the way that he does take it past his man. He's in the top 7% of all dribblers, but it's not like he's giving it away too much, though, with all those dribble attempts. His conversion rate, or his sort of a dribble percentage, that dribble success percentage, is quite high too, 64.7, in the top 18% of all players in the Champions League as well. So it does show that he has some good underlying numbers in the Champions League. My one little issue, my one little concern is maybe that he isn't exactly the most creative sort of players. Maybe when it comes to playing that ball in behind, if you were like a James Madison sort of comparison type player, a guy that can sort of set other players up, be that creative kind of a playmaker in the middle. He isn't exactly that type of player. He's more kind of a dribbler, kind of skidding past his man sort of thing. But he still has plenty of time to grow. Still has plenty of areas he can develop. But where his strengths, like I said, really lie is probably when it comes to his dribbling ability. And when you look at his stats in the Eredivisie, again, they are really good. They are really high. But the Eredivisie are sort of like, it's a league where you kind of had to take it with a grain of salt. I think he's playing for a team like Ajax, one of the better teams, of course, in the league, coming up against opposition where they're going to not really have the ball nearly as much as him, nearly as much as Ajax. And just really the stats in general are just going to be quite inflated, if you ask me. So we kind of do have to take some of these with a grain of salt. But where maybe I do want to point out is the fact that the key passes, again, are quite low here when it comes to Eredivisie. And again, these stats I usually get for this channel are through FBref. I do like kind of stick by them for the most part. And the key passes, like I said, are quite low. They were low for the Champions League and they were low in the Eredivisie, which does show that he's not really the greatest at maybe setting up his teammates as often as maybe other players. But again, so exceptional at dribbling past his man, basically the best in the league. I did look up his sort of stats per 90 when it came to any other winger, any other player in the Eredivisie. He is the best in the league at this moment in time when it comes to most people that have, I think, played at least over three full 90s in the Eredivisie. He is basically the best dribbler right now in the Eredivisie. He's skinning past at least four people per 90, which is pretty exceptional numbers for the most part. He is in the top 1 percentile, basically the best in the league, like I just said. But like I said, the shot creating actions, the key passes, not really too great. The creative numbers aren't really as high as maybe you like them to be if you were looking for more of a creative sort of kind of playmaker. But if he's going to operate as sort of a right winger for Spurs, that's where maybe his sort of strengths could lie. And I could see this as maybe a different alternative to someone like a Malinowski. I kind of brought that up earlier, hopefully, if I didn't already. This is kind of, I think, the whole point of talking about Mohamed Kudus is that if you're not really sold on Malinowski, if you don't really think he's exactly the right sort of ambition for Spurs, maybe they could look at Kudus as sort of a right winger. He does like to operate through the middle. He does like to play as sort of a cam and play as a playmaker. Not exactly the playmaker that sort of sets other players up. He does like to just sort of create chaos, skinning past his man, and then sort of then set somebody up. He's not going to hit anybody with sort of a killer sort of Bruno Guimaraes like pass or anything like that. But he is very, very good at skinning past his man and very, very good at sort of creating chaos just from the one-on-one situations and the dribbling areas. So I could see why maybe Spurs are going after him if they're going to target him as maybe of a right winger as an alternative to Kulusevski. Having those two would be brilliant. Two really young left-footed right wingers that are good at taking past their man, really good at sort of creating as well. And I think maybe that sort of a rumor could make sense if that's what Spurs are looking for. But if we're going to actually get him as sort of a guy that would operate more through the middle, I don't know. He plays really well through there, but I'm not sure if it's exactly the answer for me. But as a right winger, as maybe kind of an alternative to maybe a Malinowski this January, I do like the looks of Mohamed Kudus. But let me know, everybody, what you think of him. Let me know if you think he's the right option for us, and let me know where you think he would play for Spurs if we were to get him and secure him this January. And let me know if you even think it's possible to get him this January. But that'll be all for now, everybody. Do smash that like button on your way out, and I will be seeing you. Come on, you Spurs.